Welcome to your December reading. Happy holidays. You've got such a lucky term coming up when it comes to love. And it's deep, soulful love. Enough with the games, enough with being inaccessible, enough with being disappointed about the past. There's just too much fun stuff happening in your house of relationships. You don't have time for it. No. Now is the time to move quickly with fiery energy away from what used to hold you back a lot, which was gripes about the past, feeling slighted, feeling ignored, feeling abandoned, left out in the cold. Bottom of the deck. Very different. Very, very, very different. Oh, Two of Cups, Knight of Swords, and the card associated most with marriage. That Taurus card. Now, if you are dealing with a Taurus, they're going to be pretty aggressive in trying to either get you or get you back. Not bad as things go to have a Taurus chasing you. Now, that Knight of Swords and Two of Cups also represents Jupiter and Saturn moving into Aquarius across from you. And then from the 12th to the 30th, Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct in Aquarius. During that time, what do I have written down here? During that time, you learn the rules. Saturn is going to show you the rules when it comes to love and how to expand Jupiter in the proper way. So without Saturn there, if it was just Jupiter, there would be quite a lot of expansion. But that could be you picking the wrong person, you giving too much too soon. It can mean a lot of things. When you have Saturn also there, Saturn isn't going to let you mess this up. Saturn is like, this is a gold opportunity. We're not leaving this to chance. Four of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. It's also exactly the right time to assert yourself when it comes to work. There are deals that you may want to sign. There are jobs you may want to leave. There are businesses you may want to start that get you out of the rat race that you've been thinking about for quite some time. And you have the bravery, the luck, and the restful spirit to make it into 2021 working really hard, but also, yes, but also playing pretty hard, yes. Saturn becomes your friend. I actually natally have Saturn in Leo, and I often hear people kind of cringe when I tell them that placement, but my retort is always, I quite like it. I like the idea of my communication, my fun, having very strict rules, because I know the parameters within which I am allowed to enjoy myself. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel like even though I'm having a great time, even though I'm falling in love, even though I'm communicating my heart's desire, I'm still doing it within the bounds of propriety. Now, that may seem strange to you because you're like, no, that's not really me. Well, get used to it. Because the fact that the Devil comes up with the Strength card is all about, here with the Ten of Pentacles as well, this is what I mean about setting up the rules for the right sort of expansion. It is time to fall in love. 2021 promises to be, inshallah, a very, very loving year for you. But it is a loving year full of high expectations, standards, and rules. Rules that keep you safe, rules that make sure that you're respected, and that your life path comes first. We're not throwing everything away for love, but the cool thing is we're not being asked to either. So let's look at some more of these notes before we look at the cards. What I have written down here, that's what that was about. The Seven of Swords kept coming up at the bottom of the deck, and I was like, I wonder what that's about. And I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but one of the things I have written down here is stay away from yes men. When you're going through a process of redefining what love is, redefining how you love, the last thing that you need are people who are just going to lie to you and tell you whatever you want. That's not going to help you in any way at all. You need to really get rid of the manipulation around you and anyone who just tells you what you want to hear, because they're not helping you. Ace of Cups, King of Cups, Nine of Cups. Love. Love. The right kind of love. The kind of love that comes and finds you, does things properly. It's a deep love. That's what you're looking for. You want something that's way past anything you've experienced before, not because you're disillusioned, not because you're hurt, not because you're bitter, but because you've done the surface thing. Even when you thought you were going deep, the relationships turned out to be pretty superficial. Now you're at a point where you really feel like you know yourself, and the one thing that you know above all else is that you want something much deeper than what you've had before. So Aquarius is going to help you achieve that. And then around December 14th, we have that solar eclipse. And right at that solar eclipse, you're going to get a few messages. One is what you can do to expand work-wise. And it's not a bad time to ask for help, ask for collaborations. It's also a time where this wanting to go deeper kind of hits you in the face. You're like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize how sick I am of the superficial bullshit. Nothing superfluous will survive around Leos except the flatterers. The empty flatterers are not something that the transits can take away. Only you can get rid of them. And the reasoning is you have up until now rather enjoyed their presence. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing, but it is very dangerous now moving forward, because once you fall in love, once work ramps up even more, the ability to be manipulated, the opportunity to be manipulated goes up exponentially. We're just dealing with a lot more. There's a lot more at risk. So even though, and I do consider this to be a very big drawback in the Leo personality, don't get mad, but the fact that you have very, very little tolerance for any sort of criticism, in and of itself, I get it. Like I've told you many times, my son is a Leo rising, mashallah, and he doesn't want to hear it, and you can't make fun of him, and he's got zero sense of humor when it comes to himself. He's very good at cracking jokes about other people though, but you can never do it to him. He's also extremely sensitive when it comes to basically anything about him, right? Any sort of commentary on him. Now, in and of itself, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It makes you very proud. It usually comes with a lot of self-esteem, hopefully. But the one thing that it does do that's extremely destructive and very dangerous is that it opens you up to being manipulated by people who are just going to tell you what you want to hear. And I think that that is something that Leos struggle with throughout their lives, is being disillusioned by those who at one time seemed to be everything that they wanted and said all the right things. And Leo goes ahead with this big open heart and lets them in and believes them and works with them and gives them money and, aids in their success and confides in them, only to find out that you were just being told what you needed to hear so you could do those things. It's an extremely painful realization. There's a show I'm watching only because it was taped in my old neighborhood called The Undoing. And in The Undoing, Nicole Kidman plays a psychiatrist whose father is very smart and knows her very well. She's actually very close to her dad. And they're talking about her husband, whom he never liked. Later in the show, he admits that he didn't like him because he saw so much of himself in him. Regardless, not the point. The point is that in one scene, he says, you know, he seemed, talking about the husband, he seemed like everything you wanted because you gave him the playbook. You gave him the playbook. You told him exactly what you needed and exactly how you worked. You gave him the instruction manual. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And he just fed it back to you. And it kind of hit me real hard because who hasn't been there? We've all been there. We've all made that mistake where we let someone extremely manipulative, mendacious, just scummy into our life, but we didn't realize it because we had shared so much with them already that when they said it back to us, we had shared it with a clear heart. So when they said it back to us, it seemed genuine. You know, I'm sharing, you're sharing, but I'm sharing what I like in people and what I want in a relationship, and you're sharing how you happen to be exactly those things. That, when you look at it with some distance from a sort of, you know, detached perspective, you can see how that's way too coincidental and would never really happen in real life. But when you're in the moment, when someone is telling you these things and they're just resonating with you 100%, yeah, well, I love that. And that's what I've always wanted in a partner. And oh my God, I can't believe that you naturally really like this or that. Or your personality happens to be so much what I appreciate in people and what I get along with and what's easy for me to deal with. We never in that moment when we're on that high of commiseration ever stop to think, is this even possible? Am I getting played? Am I getting manipulated here? Because it feels so good. So when you're in the euphoria of meeting someone, connecting with someone, chemistry, rebuilding chemistry with someone, especially if it's this Taurus, then you're going to think, wow, you're just saying all the right things. That's an alarm bell. I'll tell you what kind of alarm bell it is. When I was doing my post-bac for medical school, my anatomy physiology teacher told me that if somebody comes into the hospital and says, I just have the worst headache of my life, those are words that make you, there should be an alarm that goes off in your brain, because when people come in and say that, it usually means that their cerebrospinal fluid is low and basically their brain is bumping up against their skull. So it's one of those phrases that when you hear it, you immediately do tests for that, because generally that's what it ends up being. And these people will tell you, you know, I've had migraines, I've had headaches, but this is really the worst pain I've ever experienced. This is the worst headache I've ever had. When someone starts saying all the right things, that alarm bell needs to go off in your head, because Saturn and Jupiter are going to teach you in Aquarius, they're going to teach you what a real relationship means. Not someone who just flatters you, not someone who just tells you what you want to hear, not someone who makes you feel better about your choices even. So you need that time from the 12th to the 30th to really learn these lessons and put them in your mind, but they can be erased by a wily person who knows how to talk to you, who knows how to flatter you, who knows how to make you feel like the center of the show. Once someone figures out that you like to be the center of the show, oh boy, can they manipulate you. You've been there, you know it yourself, but Right now, you just have so much more to lose. You need to shine at work. You need to be soul searching. You're learning how to expand within this world of relationships and love, to grow up, to put stock in the right things. But all of that can go away if you allow somebody who's just really good at regurgitating whatever you tell them back to you into your life, or continue to have them in your life. That is not the basis to trust somebody. Oh my God, I can't believe it. We're so much alike. Or oh my God, you're all the things I ever wanted. Nobody's all the things you ever wanted. Nobody is so much alike. So, to this lovely time where you have these rose-colored glasses on, that I do not begrudge you. I do think it's time for you to love. I do think that you deserve it. Of course you deserve it. I do think it's going to be super, super good for you. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out that with those rose-colored glasses needs to come the awareness that you're wearing them. You can call it cynicism, you can call it whatever you like, but it's necessary right now, because if the wrong person, as you're coming into such a profitable time at work, Ace of Pentacles, as you're coming into such a vulnerable time where you're healing from so much from the past, Eight of Swords, the wrong person can take advantage of you in the most terrible way when it's time for you to fall in love. Your heart doors open up just every now and then. It's not very common, and when they do, it's really important to screen who comes in. We would prefer the honest person who's not afraid to ruffle your fur or your mane. We prefer that person to someone who says all the right things. If someone walks up to the doors of your heart and they have nothing but the right things to say, don't you for a second think, oh, this person is perfect for me. That's when you have to start wondering, what is your agenda? What do you actually want? Because right now you're not in the giving stage. You don't want to give. Right now you want to commune. You want to be in an equal partnership with someone. You want your work life to be representative of how much you put in. You want the gratitude. You want the money. You want the connection. You don't want to carry anybody right now. You see what I'm saying? There's no room now for anyone who's not going to be completely honest with you about who they are. And the thing is, you can't even blame people for trying to pretend to be somebody else. Everybody wants you to like them. Of course. Who doesn't want the beautiful, dynamic, shiny, popular, witty, funny, center of attention person to like them? Everybody wants the popular kid to like them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way they go about it. You know, the intentions may be pure, but the way they go about it causes you a lot of harm, because what happens is you're the one waking up a few years later, in some cases a few days later, in some cases a few weeks later, and going, who are you? No, but who are you really? Because you made it seem like you were perfect for me, and now here we are, and like, you're none of those things. I remember finding out an ex of mine, I remember something he said really, really got to me. I really liked it. He said something about, I would love to help you pick out your clothes when we're going out. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. That's so sweet. Like, I can get dressed and we can, like, you know, confer on like, oh, this looks dope, or this is hype, or whatever. And a year into the relationship, I was like, so you want to help me pick out like what I'm gonna wear? And he was like, no, that's not really fun for me. And I was like, wait, didn't you say you like really liked helping me pick out my clothes? And he said, oh, that was a line from a Prince song. And I couldn't even help it. It came flying out of my mouth. I was like, that's a shame. I really like that about you. And I remember it just devastated him. He was like, okay, that was mean. And I was like, well, it's true. And I think the reason I was, as kind of cutting as I was with him, or the way my words must have struck him as being very acerbic, was that I felt like he manipulated me. He told me that without any context, because he knew in that moment that it would make him endearing. And it did. And so it worked. And so he just went with it. Very manipulative. It's a tiny example, but I hope it hits home, because people do that with you in your whole life. And these are the lessons that you are going to learn. And if you are learning them and you have a hard time with them, it is okay for you to ask for help. It is okay for you to go to your friends and family and say, can you check out this person for me? Like, will you meet them? Because I like them, but I would like a second opinion. What do you think? Or I'm thinking of signing this contract, or I'm thinking I'm gonna take this job. What do you think? It's a really good idea to put some trust in some people you love and not just go your own way right now, even though you really want to, because you have all these planets. All the transits right now are perfect for you to be in a lovely mood. Like I said, the rose-colored glasses, they are on. They are all the way on. So it would be nice to have somebody around. You can obviously watch this video over and over again, but it would be nice to have somebody around that knows you well, who isn't wearing the glasses, and can say to you, yeah, that guy or that girl or that person, I feel like they're just telling you what you want to hear. I mean, you don't have to discount them outright, but we're not just jumping headfirst into anything with anyone because they seem to like us or be like us. That is what Saturn teaches you in, something like 28 days. It wants you to learn, finally, what the proper basis of a relationship should be. And it has very little with commonality, although most of us think it has a lot to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. But that's a conversation between you and Saturn, not between you and I. So, be careful, be smart, wear your glasses, see everything rosy, talk to everybody, flirt with everybody, whatever, be your most Leo self. But when it comes time to make those important decisions, choose someone you trust to look at the situation clearly without any sort of filter, and then go from there. Because if you trust them, then you have to take their word for it, that they're going to see things that you're not going to see. And when they see those things, believe them, and don't put your own need to be with someone or to win above being with someone for the right reasons, which in this case are, if you've been wondering throughout the video, well, what are the right reasons? What are the right reasons to be with someone? I guess there are many. A relationship should be equal. It should be mutually beneficial. It should be loving. It should be supportive. It should be honest. It should be respectful. It should have a spiritual element. You should both be pushing each other to evolve. There should be a natural chemistry between you. There should be very strong boundaries between you. So there are levels of disrespect that should never be entertained or should never happen, ever. You should have similar goals for real. And it would also be nice if they understood that you don't like to be criticized so much. So it should be someone who knows how to speak to you without incurring your anger or resentment. Not anger so much. You don't get mad when people tell you what they think you may have to work on. You just have a tendency to resent them. And a lot of times, anyone who wants to be your partner, that's the last thing they want, is for you to resent them. So they're just not going to say anything. They learn. It's a learned behavior with Leos. You tell a Leo something that you think a couple of times and they react badly, and you go, right, I'm not doing that again. So you need someone who is resilient, but also who knows how to talk to you, who knows how to say things in a way that don't they don't hurt you, that you can see the merit in them. Good. Happy holidays. It's actually really exciting, and I'm kind of wondering how many of my Leo friends are going to invite me to their weddings, because I love Leo weddings. Probably the most. And I love you a lot. It's going to be really fun. It's my job to prep you for the potholes. The rest of it is going to be fun and it's going to be easy. I just don't want you tripping while you're wearing those glasses and cutting yourself up. You understand? Good. I love you. Let's look at these cards. Hi, Leo. Welcome to the second part of your reading. Okay, so let's start from the beginning here. Knight of Wands, Eight of Swords. You're just ready. You're ready to move on from the sadness. There's not much more to say about that. It's just time. Whatever it was that was lingering, whatever past stuff you had been holding on to, you're just like, yeah, I'm over it. It's probably my favorite quality of yours, that you have this like cutoff limit, where if something gets too dramatic, something gets too overly sensitive, something gets too, when people get way too in their feelings about something and start to muck everything up, you're the ones who are like, this is dumb, I'm moving along. You can stew in your feelings if you want to. I'm going to go have some fun. There it is. Then, Two of Cups, Knight of Swords. You are very quickly moving towards a meaningful relationship. Whether you've already met someone that you kind of like or you're on the prowl, either way, it's a good month for it. And it's a good month to meet someone who ultimately, long-term, could become very important to you. I had a really interesting thing happen with last month's Cancer reading, where there were like 2 or 3 Cancers who were commenting, you said I was going to meet the love of my life this month. What happened? No, yeah, that's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. I said you have the potential, if you have your shit together, to meet someone who could become a long-term partner. So I know I don't have to make that distinction with you because you know what I mean. And emotionally, you are adults. So that's what I mean, just in case. 4 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. It's also a time to take all those ideas you've been sitting on and thinking about, whatever you've been wanting to say to your boss, whoever you've been wanting to tell that they don't appreciate you, whatever you've been wanting to leave and start your own thing. All of that is encompassed in those 3 cards. It's time for you to take those steps. It's time for you to walk off that cliff and work on your own stuff. If that means you want to hold on to the job you have because you want the financial security, that means you need to start carving out time at other parts of the day to work on your own thing, because ultimately it is only that which you do for yourself that will bring you the kind of wealth that you deserve. 10 of Pentacles is more than wealth though, isn't it? It's that whole package that Leos love. It's the family, the extended family, the wealth, the accoutrement that come with wealth. It's children, it's all of it. And you are in prime placement to receive those things. Saturn's just going to make sure you do it the right way. Why? Because it affects everything else. It affects your life path. It affects your ability to work. It affects your level of happiness. Hi, Baba. Hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. So, where were we? Yes, we were talking about Saturn making you the best you can be in terms of your love choices, showing you, what does Saturn do? Saturn shows you where the foundation is not solid. Saturn shows you what you've been hanging on to that you absolutely should not be leaning on. Saturn takes from you that which you think you cannot live without to show you that you are stronger than that, to teach you self-reliance. What does that mean in terms of love? It means that it shows you what aspects of your idea of love have been toxic, have not been true, have actually been a weakness for you. It strengthens you. Now it does so in the love department. It's very powerful to have this sort of insight. There are many who rail against the effects that Saturn has. They don't understand it. They see it as this harsh taskmaster. But to develop an appreciation for the rules, to develop within yourself the humility that's needed to see the merit in following rules, is what opens Saturn up for you. It actually makes Saturn quite beneficial once you appreciate it, once you learn that those rules are in place to keep you safe and to aid in your progress. Let's not forget, it is the planet that rules Capricorn. It is about forward moving progress. It doesn't always feel that way when it's putting all these rules and restrictions in place, but then how is it that they're able to do so well? Because those rules and restrictions are put in place to narrow that path so you walk that straight line. And why is it so important for you to do that right now? Well, like I said, it's time for something serious. And if you're going to get into something serious, we would hope that it was with someone who was worthy of that. Ace of Cups, King of Cups, Nine of Cups says, if you follow the path that is laid out for you now, if you follow the rules, if you take the advice, things open up in the most gorgeous way. The kind of love that you want. Now, what do you have to do internally to get here? If you're still here about any situation from the past in your love life, this is way into the future for you. Who knows how long it'll take you to get here? Except if you decide in September, what is going on with me? If you decide in December, starting tonight with this lunar eclipse, that it's time to leave behind whatever happened and stop assigning blame. Maybe it was their fault. Maybe it was your fault. In all reality, it was both your faults. Doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that you move on. What matters is that you empty out that space. What matters is you stop blaming yourself and others. Accept it for what it was and learn how to be better. That's it. If you can humble yourself enough to listen to what Saturn has to say, this stay that Saturn has in Aquarius becomes a dream for you. If you insist on going your own way and keeping on with what you've been doing and how you've been playing out your attractions, it's going to get bumpy because there are a lot of influences and a lot of transits that you can buck if you like, but this isn't one of them. Saturn plays 0 games. There is no wriggle room at all. It's either you follow the rules or you get hurt. Why? Because these are lessons that are too important to shun. You have to learn them. So, it's time to go to school. And that's okay. Because it is ultimately only being done to bring you what you want. Now, the other great thing is you have this deep desire to do something for yourself, to make more money, to go where you are appreciated, and the finances reflect that. So overall, it's a wonderful time. Not only do you get some real, gravity in your love life, but you also have this super ambitious, super lucky energy when it comes to work, when it comes to money. And of course, that being the case, the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles show up in your reading. Fabulous. We'll take it. Good. Now, if you would like a look at the extended reading where we go through and we clarify each card, it's been super fun lately. Please check out the instant extended link or the Vimeo link below. If you would like a 7 to 10 minute recorded personal reading sent to your inbox, check the Cameo link below. If you are interested in a one-on-one live video chat reading, check the Chatalize link below. If you are enamored with these rings, these are the Quietest Revolution rings. It's a company I started with my best friend. There is an Instagram link where you can check out the Rev Fam wearing the rings, and there is a link to purchase. There is also a merchandise link below. And last but not least, if you would like to attend a Capricorn season question and answer that we call a satsang, there will be one next month. Well, December video. So in December at the full moon, there's a link for that below. And in just a couple of weeks, on December 12th, Carolina and I are having a relationship satsang, which is sure to be a really good time. That one's going to be more like a party. There is a link. There are 2 Eventbrite links for those events below as well. What else? If you're thinking about makeup details, what I was using, the eyeshadow, the lipstick, those you can find on the Instagram link, Quietest Revolution. And if you're interested in a daily horoscope or a daily astrological transit reading for each sign, that is also at the Quietest Revolution on Insta. Love you, love you, love you, and I'll see you in the extended right now.